Anna walked quickly, holding the wallet close to her chest. The cold night air pressed against her face, but it was not the cold that scared her now. It was the sound of footsteps following her. The two men from the corner were still behind her. Their shadows stretched long on the empty street, and Anna could feel their eyes burning into her back. She turned into a narrow lane, hoping they would stop, but when she looked over her shoulder, they were still there. Fear grew inside her. Her heart beat faster, her hands shook. She whispered to herself, "Stay calm, Anna, just stay calm." She wanted to run, but her body was weak. Hunger had taken her strength, and her shoes were too worn for speed. Instead, she walked faster, pretending not to notice them. One of the men called out, "Hey, lady, what are you hiding in that bag?" Anna's blood turned cold. She hugged her bag tighter and kept walking. The men laughed, their footsteps growing louder. "Wait. We just want to talk," one of them said, but his voice was sharp and unfriendly. Anna's mind raced. Do they know about the wallet? Did they see me pick it up? She reached the end of the lane and stepped into a busier street. The lights of shops and the noise of cars gave her a little comfort. The men slowed down but did not leave. They stood across the street, still watching her. Anna took a deep breath. She sat on a bench under a street lamp and pulled out the wallet again. She had to make a decision. Her eyes fell on the thick bundles of cash. The money seemed to call her name. Just take a little, no one will know. You can eat tonight. You can buy shoes. You can sleep in a warm bed. Her stomach growled loudly, as if agreeing with the thought. Tears filled her eyes. "Why is life so cruel?" she whispered. "Why must I always choose between hunger and honesty?" Memories flashed in her mind. She remembered the days when she worked in a small cafe. She didn't earn much, but she was proud because the money was hers, earned by her own hands. She remembered her mother's words, "No matter how poor we are, Anna, never take what is not yours. Money comes and goes, but your honesty stays with you forever." Her heart ached. She touched the wallet again. She could not betray her mother's voice, even if her mother was no longer in this world. Anna wiped her tears and looked at the golden card again. It had the billionaire's name and the address of his company written on it. "I will return this," she decided. "I don't care if I stay hungry. I don't care if I freeze tonight. I will not steal." But even as she spoke those words, doubt whispered in her ear. What if they don't believe you? What if they think you stole it? What if they punish you? Her hands trembled. The world was never kind to people like her. Would a billionaire even listen to her story? Or would he throw her out before she could explain? Anna stood up again, walking slowly toward the bus stop. She thought about going to the company address in the morning, when the sun was up and the streets were safe. But for now, she had to protect the wallet. If the two men got their hands on it, they would surely take it. The bus stop was empty. A cold wind blew through the street, making Anna shiver. She sat on the bench, holding the bag on her lap, her eyes always moving to check if the men were still near. And then, something unexpected happened. A sleek black car stopped in front of her. The window rolled down, and a well-dressed driver leaned out. His suit was neat, his eyes sharp. "Are you Anna?" he asked calmly. Anna froze. How did he know her name? She had not spoken to anyone tonight. Her voice was weak. "Why yes, but who are you?" The man stepped out of the car. "My boss has lost something important. He sent me to find you. You have it, don't you?" Anna's eyes widened in shock. She clutched the bag tighter. How did this stranger know about the wallet? And who exactly was his boss? The driver gave a small smile, but there was something strange about it. It was too cold, too practiced. "Don't be afraid. Just give it to me, and I'll make sure it goes back to the right hands." Anna's heart raced again. Should I trust him? Or is this a trap? She looked at the car. It was expensive, shiny, the kind of car only rich men owned. It could belong to the billionaire. But something inside her whispered that this man was not to be trusted. Her mind was a battlefield. One side told her to hand over the wallet and be free. The other side warned her that this man might be lying. Anna took a step back. I don't know you," she said softly. If your boss lost something, let him come to me himself. The driver's smile faded. His eyes grew colder. Don't be foolish, Anna. You're just a homeless woman. No one will believe you. Give me the wallet before things get difficult. Anna's chest tightened. She realized she was in more danger than she thought. The wallet had made her a target, and now her honesty would be tested like never before. The cold streets suddenly felt even darker, even heavier. Her story was only getting more dangerous. The night grew colder, and Anna's heart beat faster with every second. The driver's sharp eyes never left her face. His polished shoes tapped against the pavement as he stepped closer. Anna held her bag tightly, pressing it against her chest as if it were a shield. Please, she said softly, I cannot give this to you. I need to return it myself, to the real owner. The driver tilted his head, his smile thin and unfriendly. And what makes you think the real owner will even care about you? You think a billionaire has time to talk to a woman like you? His words cut deep. Anna knew she was poor, invisible to society, but something in her heart told her this was wrong. She shook her head. I don't trust you. If your boss lost something, he can come to me himself. The driver's face hardened. The polite mask was gone. He stepped even closer, his voice low and threatening. Listen, girl. That wallet doesn't belong to you. If you hand it over now, no trouble. But if you don't, his eyes narrowed. Trouble will find you. Before Anna could answer, the two men from earlier appeared again, walking quickly toward her. Her blood froze. They stood beside the driver, nodding at him like old friends. Anna gasped. So they were working together all along. She stepped back, her legs trembling. No, please. I don't want trouble. I just want to return this the right way. One of the men laughed. Right way. There is no right way for people like you. Hand it over, and maybe we'll let you go. Anna's heart pounded. The street was quiet, no one around to help. She thought of running, but her weak body would never outrun three strong men. She thought of screaming, but who would stop for a homeless woman at night? For a moment, hopelessness crushed her. Then, she remembered her mother's voice again. Courage, Anna. Even in fear, be brave. She gripped the wallet inside her bag. No, she whispered, surprising even herself. Her voice grew stronger. I will not give it to you. This does not belong to me, but it does not belong to you either. If you want it, you'll have to take it by force. The men looked at each other and laughed cruelly. They stepped closer, ready to grab her. Anna's body shook, but she stood her ground. And then, something unexpected happened. A second black car rolled up beside them. This one was larger, more elegant, its lights bright and blinding. The driver quickly turned around, his face tightening. The car door opened, and a tall man in a dark coat stepped out. His presence was powerful, his steps calm but commanding. Anna's eyes widened. She had seen this face before, on newspapers, on TV, in magazines. It was him. The billionaire. The men froze, their laughter dying instantly. The billionaire's eyes scanned the scene, finally resting on Anna. His gaze was sharp but curious. Then he looked at the driver and the two men. His voice was deep and steady. What is happening here? No one answered at first. The driver cleared his throat nervously. Sir, we found her. She had your wallet. I was just about to take it back from her. The billionaire raised an eyebrow. His eyes shifted to Anna again. Is this true? Anna's throat was dry. She held the bag tightly, her heart racing. For a moment, she thought of giving the wallet to the driver, ending this nightmare. But something inside her pushed her to speak the truth. No, sir, she said softly, but her voice carried courage. I found it on the street. I wanted to return it to you myself, but they followed me. They tried to take it. The billionaire's eyes studied her face. There was no fear of lying in her eyes, only honesty. He stretched out his hand gently. May I see it? Anna hesitated for a second, then slowly opened her bag. She pulled out the leather wallet and placed it in his hand. The billionaire opened it, checked the contents, and closed it again. His expression did not show anger. Instead, there was something else: surprise. He looked back at the driver and the men, his voice suddenly sharp. "You said you were protecting my property. But it seems you were lying. You are dismissed." The driver's face turned pale. "Yes, sir." "Leave," the billionaire commanded. The driver and his men backed away quickly, disappearing into the night. Anna stood frozen, unable to believe what had just happened. Now, it was only her and the billionaire. He stepped closer, his eyes softer now. "Why didn't you take the money? You could have kept it. No one would know." Anna lowered her head, her voice trembling. "Because it was never mine. I am poor, yes. I am hungry. But I cannot take what is not mine." For a moment, silence filled the street. The billionaire stared at her as if he had never heard such words before. His world was full of liars and thieves, but here was a homeless woman, standing in the cold, protecting what was his. Something deep inside him shifted. The night had started with a wallet, but it was about to change both their lives forever. The billionaire stood in silence for a long moment, holding his wallet in his hand. The cold night wind blew across the street, but Anna hardly felt it. Her heart still pounded from fear, but now it was mixed with confusion. Why was this powerful man looking at her like that? Why hadn't he called the police? Why wasn't he angry? Finally, the billionaire spoke. His voice was calm, deep, and curious. "You could have taken it. You could have run away. But you stayed. Why?" Anna lowered her head. She felt small under his sharp gaze. "Because it was never mine," she whispered. I only wanted to return it to you." For a moment, there was silence again. Then, to her surprise, the billionaire gave a small nod. His eyes softened slightly. "Get in the car," he said. Anna froze. "What?" "Get in," he repeated, opening the back door. "It's too cold out here. You cannot stay on the street tonight." Her first instinct was fear. She had never trusted strangers, especially rich men who lived in a world far away from hers. But there was something in his tone, firm yet not unkind, that made her believe he meant no harm. Slowly, she stepped into the car. The soft leather seats felt unreal under her worn clothes. For years, she had walked the streets, and now she was sitting inside a car that smelled of wealth and power. Her hands shook as she folded them in her lap, afraid she might dirty the seat. The billionaire entered after her, sitting across with a quiet dignity. The driver of this car, different from the one before, drove them away smoothly. Anna kept her eyes low, afraid to speak. But her mind screamed with questions. Why was he taking her? What would happen when they reached his place? The city lights flashed outside the window as the car moved into quieter, richer neighborhoods. Tall gates, big houses, shining lamps. It was a world she had only seen from afar. Finally, the car stopped in front of a massive iron gate. Guards stood there, tall and alert. When they saw the billionaire, they bowed quickly and opened the gate without question. Anna's breath caught in her throat. Behind the gate stood a mansion so large it looked like a palace. Golden lights glowed from every window. A fountain sparkled in the middle of the garden. Expensive cars rested in the driveway like sleeping beasts. Her eyes widened. Never in her life had she seen such wealth. She felt even smaller, like a shadow that did not belong. The car stopped at the front steps. The billionaire stepped out, and a servant rushed to open the door for Anna. She hesitated, her legs weak. "Come," the billionaire said simply. She followed him inside. The moment Anna entered, her eyes filled with wonder. The floor was polished marble that reflected the light of grand chandeliers. The walls were decorated with paintings that probably cost more than she could ever imagine. The air smelled of perfume and warmth, a world so different from the cold street outside. But instead of comfort, Anna felt shame. She looked down at her torn shoes and her coat with holes. She felt out of place, like dirt in a room of gold. Servants moved around, whispering quietly as they noticed her. Some looked curious, others looked disgusted. One woman whispered loudly enough for Anna to hear, "Why has he brought her here?" Anna's cheeks burned. She wanted to run, to escape back into the cold night when no one judged her. But the billionaire's voice stopped her. "This way," he said, leading her into a long hallway. At the end, there was a wide room with soft chairs and a fireplace burning warmly. He gestured for her to sit. Anna hesitated but finally lowered herself into a chair. It felt too soft, too fine for someone like her. The billionaire sat across from her. For a moment, he said nothing, only studied her face. She felt his gaze piercing into her soul. Then he spoke. "Tell me, Anna, why did you not take it? You are poor. You are hungry. You had every reason to keep the money. But you didn't. Why?" Her eyes filled with tears. She looked into the fire, her voice trembling. Because it is wrong. I have lost many things in life, sir. I lost my home, my job, even my family. But I cannot lose my honesty. It is the only thing I have left. The billionaire leaned back, surprised. In his world, people lied for even a small coin. People betrayed each other for power. And yet here sat a homeless woman who could have taken thousands, but chose honesty instead. For the first time in years, he felt something stir in his heart. Respect. Curiosity. Even admiration. He nodded slowly. "You are different, Anna. Very different." Anna wiped her tears, unsure what he meant. She thought he might now send her away, maybe give her a small reward. But instead, he said something she never expected. "Do you need a job?" Anna looked up, her breath stopping. For a moment, she thought she had misheard. A job?" "Yes," he said firmly. "You were looking for work, weren't you? I can give you a chance. Not charity, but a real job. If you are honest enough to protect what was mine, you are honest enough to work in my house." Anna's lips trembled. She had begged for work on the streets for months, but everyone rejected her. And now, the most powerful man she had ever met was offering her a chance. She didn't know whether to cry, to smile, or to believe it at all. Her life, once filled with despair, was suddenly standing at the door of a new beginning. But she also knew, stepping through that door would not be easy. Anna sat frozen in the soft chair, her hands shaking on her lap. The billionaire's words echoed in her mind, "Do you need a job?" It felt unreal. For months, she had begged strangers for work. No one trusted her. They looked at her torn coat and tired face and turned away. Yet here, in this golden room, a man with everything was offering her what she had prayed for every night. Her lips trembled. Are you serious?" she whispered. The billionaire leaned forward, his eyes steady. "I am always serious. I do not waste words. You wanted a chance, and I can give it. But tell me, Anna, if I trust you, will you prove me right?" Her throat tightened with emotion. "Yes, sir. I will work harder than anyone. I don't need riches. I just need a chance." For the first time, a faint smile touched his lips. "Then you have it." Anna's heart raced, but before she could thank him, she noticed the servants at the door. Their whispers filled the air again. One of them, a middle-aged man in a neat suit, stepped forward. His voice was calm, but there was a hidden sharpness. "Sir, if I may, is this wise? She is a stranger, a homeless woman. We don't know her past. We don't know if she can be trusted." Another servant, a young woman, added quickly, "Yes, sir. What if she only pretended to be honest so she could come here? We cannot risk it." Their words pierced Anna's heart. She lowered her eyes, ashamed. Once again, her torn coat, her broken shoes, her empty life, these were all people saw. Not her honesty, not her struggle. But before she could speak, the billionaire raised his hand. The room fell silent. "I decide whom I trust," he said firmly. His eyes shifted back to Anna. "Her honesty is worth more than all your doubts." The servants exchanged uneasy glances, but they said nothing more. Still, Anna could feel their eyes on her, filled with suspicion and dislike. The billionaire stood. "You will begin tomorrow. Tonight, you will rest here. You look too tired to return to the street." Anna's eyes widened. "Rest here? In this mansion?" "Yes," he said simply, as if it were the most natural thing in the world. A maid was ordered to show Anna a room. The woman's expression was cold, but she obeyed. She led Anna through endless hallways until they reached a small but beautiful guest room. The bed was wide and soft, the curtains heavy, the air warm. Anna stepped inside, her eyes filling with tears. For years, she had slept on cold pavements, under bridges, or in shelters where safety never existed. And now, she stood inside a room that felt like a dream. The maid placed fresh clothes on the bed and said flatly, "You're lucky. Don't ruin it." Then she left, shutting the door. Anna sat on the bed, her hands trembling as she touched the soft blanket. "Is this real?" she whispered to herself. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She lay back, her body sinking into comfort she had never known. For the first time in years, she slept without fear. But not everyone in the mansion slept peacefully. Downstairs, some staff members gathered quietly, their voices low. "She doesn't belong here," one muttered. "She'll ruin the house's name," another whispered. "Mark my words, she'll bring trouble," a third added. And in another room, the billionaire himself sat by the fire, holding a glass in his hand. His eyes were deep in thought. He was not a man who trusted easily, but something about Anna had touched him. Her honesty was rare, her courage even rarer. Yet he also knew, the world would not accept her easily. And soon, she would face her first test. The next morning, sunlight filled the guest room. Anna woke slowly, confused by the softness under her. For a moment, she thought it was a dream. But when she opened her eyes, she saw the golden curtains, the polished floor, the clothes on the chair. It was real. She sat up, her heart beating with nervous excitement. Today, she would start her new life. Today, she would prove herself. She changed into the simple clothes given to her, brushed her hair with a comb she found, and looked in the mirror. The face staring back was still tired, still worn, but her eyes were different. There was hope in them. She whispered to herself, "Don't waste this chance, Anna. This is your one door to a new beginning." When she stepped out of the room, she found the same middle-aged man from last night waiting for her. His eyes were cold. "So, the master wants to test you," he said. "Follow me." Anna's stomach tightened. She knew this was it, the moment to prove her worth. But she also knew the staff would do everything they could to make her fail. Her fight was not over. In fact, it had just begun. Anna followed the middle-aged man through the wide hallway of the mansion. His steps were sharp, his face serious. He said nothing to her until they entered a large kitchen where several staff members were already busy. The smell of fresh bread and coffee filled the air. He turned to her. "If you really want to stay here, you will work. The master believes in you, but I do not. Today, you will prove whether you belong or not." Anna nodded quickly. "I will do whatever you ask." The man crossed his arms. "Good. Clean the kitchen, polish the silver, and help with the garden by afternoon. No mistakes. Do you understand?" "Yes, sir," Anna said softly. The staff smirked, whispering behind her back. They thought she would fail. They thought she would give up before the day ended. But Anna surprised them. She rolled up her sleeves and began to work. She scrubbed the counters until they shone, washed dishes until her hands turned red, and polished the silver with care as if it were her own. Every small task, she did with honesty and effort. When she stepped into the garden, the sun was high. The gardener, an old man with kind eyes, looked at her curiously. "So, you're the new helper?" Anna smiled shyly. "Yes, sir. I don't know much, but I'll learn." The gardener chuckled softly. "At least you are willing. That's more than I can say for some." He showed her how to trim the plants, how to water them properly. She listened carefully and worked until sweat covered her forehead. By the time the day ended, Anna's body ached, but her heart was light. For the first time in years, she felt useful again. Still, when she returned to the house, the middle-aged man frowned. You did better than I thought. But don't think one day of work proves anything. You will need to earn everyone's trust here." Anna lowered her head. "I understand. I will keep trying." That night, the billionaire called for her. She entered his study nervously, her hands trembling. He sat behind a large desk, his sharp eyes watching her closely. "Well," he asked, "how was your first day?" Anna hesitated, then spoke honestly. "Hard. but good. I am thankful for the chance. I will not waste it. The billionaire leaned back, studying her. Most people in your place would have taken the money and disappeared. You returned it. Most people would have given up after one day of hard work. You stayed. Why? Anna swallowed. Her voice cracked as she answered. Because I know what it feels like to have nothing, sir. I don't want pity. I don't want gifts. I just want to earn my life again. Please, let me prove myself. For a moment, the billionaire was silent. Then, slowly, a rare smile touched his lips. You remind me of something I forgot a long time ago. Honesty. Hard work. Simplicity. He placed the wallet on the desk. This little leather thing was just money to me. But to you, it was a test. And you passed. Anna's eyes filled with tears. No one had ever spoken of her with such respect. From that day on, her life began to change. She worked every morning in the mansion, helping in the kitchen, the garden, and later in the office. At first, the staff doubted her, but little by little, they noticed her effort. She never complained, never stole, never lied. Her honesty was her strength. The billionaire watched her quietly. With each passing day, he grew more impressed. He had spent years surrounded by people who wanted his wealth, his power, his influence. But Anna wanted none of that. She only wanted a chance to live with dignity. Her kindness touched him. He began asking about her life, her struggles. She answered humbly, never blaming the world, only thanking God for giving her the courage to survive. Slowly, an invisible bond formed between them. It was not built on money or power, but on trust and respect. One evening, as the sun set behind the mansion, Anna stood on the balcony, looking at the city lights. She whispered to herself, I was once invisible on these streets. But one act of honesty opened a door I never dreamed of. The billionaire stepped beside her, his voice calm. And that honesty will take you further than you think. Anna looked at him, her eyes shining with quiet hope. She was no longer the woman who wandered the cold streets with an empty stomach and broken shoes. She was someone who had fought temptation, faced danger, and held on to her last piece of dignity, honesty. And because of that, her story was no longer about loss. It was about a new beginning.